What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about my biggest regrets currently in the garden. You guys have always been asking me, Luke, can you share some of your regrets, some of the things that you look back on and say that might not have been the best decision, or something you could change if going forward, if you had the choice to change, what would it be? And so that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. But I first want to take a really quick aside from that and say that right now I am really appreciative for all of your support. But one of the things that has been changing currently with the YouTube algorithm is that there is not as much child engagement. I'm going to talk about my regrets very soon with the current garden, some things that I really would like to change going forward. But I want to touch on this because this is a very big change happening and a big thing that has affected my personal reason why I started a YouTube channel. When I started my YouTube channel, the MIgardener channel has never changed from the moment it started back in 2011. I've always had a mission to impact the younger generation as well as the older generation, but the younger generation was the real target for what my videos were trying to reach, or who I was trying to reach with my videos. And based on, I think it was a decision that was made, I want to say a month or two ago, there is a change going on with basically videos that target children. Now, my videos have never specifically targeted children, but I do think that there is something to be said about gardening content. Our channel has always been very wholesome. Our channel has always been drug-free, swearing-free, anything that a child shouldn't see has not been on this channel. Now, is the content necessarily for ages 3, 2, 1-year-olds? I don't know. I do know for a fact that I've had many parents who homeschool their kids that say, I've been putting on your show and I've been letting them watch your channel because it's so wholesome, and I do love that you promote healthy living and gardening to the younger generation. And so what's really been bothering me is that I am not necessarily able to say that my channel is or isn't targeting children, but YouTube wants us to take a really hard stance, a very firm stance. In fact, so firm that they say, is your channel intended for children or is it not? And what that decision does is, if you say it does not, that implies that it is not suitable for children. But if you imply that it is, you can't run ads, you don't get nearly as much engagement, you can't leave comments, there's so much there. And so because we're not specifically a children's channel, I think the vast majority of people are above the age of 30, but our original reason for founding this channel was to impact the younger generation, kids at the time that were my age and younger. And when I was just a freshman in high school, I wanted to show people that there was a healthier way of living, that you could get outside, you could grow your own food, and really where food was really coming from, to educate the younger generation that a potato or a French fry, though a potato is not a vegetable, ketchup, though it came from a tomato, is not a vegetable. I really wanted to kind of drill that home to show people where food was really coming from. And the thing that bothers me is that because we had to make this really hard line stance, that there's a lot of parents out there that are not seeing this content. And I know that for a fact, because since making that decision, our demographics have stayed the same above the age of 18. But since making that decision, all the ages below 18 that are in the younger age group, it goes 17 and under, that is down 92% from where it was prior to making that decision. This is a very clear problem and something that we really want to address. So make sure that if you have kids, or if you have parents that have kids that used to watch our channel but do not watch our channel, make sure to send them a quick message and say, hey, Luke's still out there. Just make sure to check back with his channel. Make sure to subscribe or click the notification bell, because YouTube is not showing our content to the younger generation anymore. It's just not. And that's very clear. It's very evident. So I really hope that you guys will do that. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. Oh my gosh, just as soon as I start this video, it starts to rain. So hopefully it's not gonna rain too hard, because I'd love to get this video out to you guys. But I am here with one of my first regrets. Now, when I planted my home orchard, I did not expect my home orchard to be a regret. However, these two apple trees are one of my biggest regrets with my home orchard. I absolutely regret planting them. I regret planting them this close to this raised bed. Even though I thought I could keep them contained, they're far too close to this raised bed for any good to come from it. but also in the varieties that I planted. I thought for sure that these varieties would be ones that I absolutely loved and would continue to grow for years and years. Not only have these not produced well, but they also have really not produced anything at all. I have gotten one apple in 3 years of growing. Compare that to everything else. I've gotten fruit from every other fruit tree except for these apple trees. They're plagued with constantly with worms, with Japanese beetles, with fire blight. I have just been constantly combating the different diseases that have been plaguing these trees, and there's just, there just comes a point where you kind of say, is it really worth it? So next year is going to be the last year we're going to give these a try. If they do not perform next year, I will be cutting them out. I just simply do not believe in having something in the garden that's taking up space and time and effort to maintain that's really not giving me any value. So these will be coming out next year if I do not get them reined in and producing something. I'll even take 2 apples. If I get 2 apples next year, I'll leave them in. I just want to give them a chance, but you can only give them so many chances before. I mean, they've been here now for 4 years and only produce 1 apple, even though they're fully mature size, is kind of unacceptable. Now, the next regret is something that I do find kind of surprising that I regret planting. However, it is this hyssop. I love hyssop, but had I had the hindsight to realize how aggressive this would grow and how much it would take over, I would not have planted it here. I would definitely put this in a container and kept it way more isolated, because this thing spreads and sprawls and it drops its seed everywhere, and it truly is an absolute mess. Okay, we're gonna take a brief intermission. It's starting to absolutely downpour. I'll see you guys in about 15 minutes. All right, so we're back out. It's raining a lot less than it was, but we'll have to kind of keep an eye on it because unfortunately my camera is not waterproof. So we're here with our third regret, and you're probably already saying, no, not the strawberries, anything but the strawberries. And unfortunately, the strawberries are a regret of mine. Now, not that I planted them. Don't get me wrong. I love the strawberries. And for the past 3 years, I've loved the strawberries. But what is it that I regret about them? Well, I regret that I did not keep them in check sooner. After about 2 or 3 years, they start to lose productivity and they need to be cycled out. The only issue is that now we have strawberries all throughout the mulch layer. They're just becoming a total mess. I'm gonna have to come in here and take care of that so that they don't start getting into the other raised beds and spreading around, because they will do that. They're very, very invasive. But also, the thing that I really regret is that I did not pull them out this year to restart them. Now, if I would have done that, there would be no regrets whatsoever because they'd be in check. However, life got in the way and life got really busy, and now I pretty much have to wait until next year. Because if I pull them out now and replant them, there's not enough time for them to get established, and they're guaranteed going to die. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to pull them out maybe in the spring, possibly in the spring, but then that'll completely reduce any production that they were going to have. So maybe I'll pull them out after June, after they fruit. I don't know, I'm not sure. We only got about 10 pounds of fruit from these 2 raised beds when we should have gotten close to 20 pounds this year. So much less production than we were expecting. They are a mess. All of that is completely on my fault, but that's also why it's a regret. I regret not doing it sooner, because had I done it sooner and had I stayed up on it and cycled through my beds, had one bed at 1 year old, a next bed at 2 years old at fully mature fruiting age, then I could have cycled that bed out. Then this one would have been 2 years old. That one would have been 1 year old. And that's what I should have done, is cycle them through 1 year, 2 year, 1 year, 2 year, but I didn't. And now I'm left with a mess. So third regret. All right, we're here with the fourth and final regret, and that is the black currant bush. Now, I don't have many regrets in the garden, but this is probably one of the biggest regrets that I have, because it had the potential to be one of my favorite plants in the garden just because of how much it produces. However, the flavor of the berries are not a big favorite of mine fresh. They're really good if you make like a syrup with them, or if you make a juice with them. Very delicious and extremely useful, but eaten fresh, they're not great. They have a very thick skin, very hard seeds, and they're just not the best when eaten fresh. But aside from that, the growth habit is something that I should have seen coming a long time ago. They are not as tame and as kind of condensed down and shrub-like as the other currants and gooseberries that we have in our collection. These have been known to get super large and super wild. The problem with that is that I planted them in a space that was only allotted for about 2 foot by 2 foot. like the other currants get usually. They usually max out at about 2 feet wide by about 2 feet long. So just basically 4 square feet of space. The other ones are contained within that space and they're doing just fine. This black currant, on the other hand, is a completely different story. It is just absolutely out of control. It's already it's already probably 5 feet wide by 5 feet long. It's already getting into the other gooseberry plants. It's already getting and competing in with my other peach tree. It's starting to encroach onto my raised bed. It's really not in a great location, and there's really not a whole lot that I can do about it besides pull it out. So what I'm going to do next year is I'm going to really assess, do I use it enough? Do I use the vegetables enough, do I use the fruits enough to really justify keeping it? Is it actually harming anything else that I enjoy more, like what's being grown in this raised bed, my peach trees, my other gooseberries? Is it affecting those negatively to where I'm not enjoying them as much and I'm also not enjoying this as much? I have to take a lot into consideration whether or not I'm going to keep this here or not. But right now it's kind of just, it's a regret, because had I moved it in a place with more space, I probably wouldn't even be doing this in my regrets video, because I do enjoy it. I enjoy it for a lot of different reasons, but where it's at and what it's doing, it's not really vibing with me right now. So those are my regrets. Those are my regrets. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. And I really do hope that you'll sound off in the comments box below what yours are. And also remember to like this video. It helps spread this video around. And also to continue help spreading this video around, make sure to just spread the word. Tell friends, spread our links on social media, and just kind of post a little reminder saying, hey, if you have not yet seen MIgardener's videos, make sure to check him out. Or if you were checking him out and you haven't seen his video in a while, make sure you check to make sure that you have notifications, or that you're not being excluded from his channel because of your child's age. So that is a very important step that I want you guys to do, because this channel depends on it. It really depends on it, because my core mission has always been to encourage and motivate the younger generation. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. And as always, we'll catch you all on tomorrow's episode. Grow big or go home. Bye.